Hey folks, and welcome back to another episode of DGS2 Case 5. So, we have swapped out transitions right now because the court is now in a recess. So we are checking in with Holmes and Mikotoba, playing from Mikotoba's perspective, interestingly enough. So we are trying to get into the cabin that Jigoku was in, just looking for him, because hey, we were apparently chasing for him too at this point, and Holmes figured this out, because he's Holmes. So it's Mikotoba's job right now to try and distract the guy guarding the cabin for at least 5 seconds so he can picklock the lock so they can get in. Let's see how he's gonna do this. Horribly. I already know what happens here, and I'm sure Chali will have a good time with this. Alright, let's look. First we start with this mousetrap.
This is a trap for catching mice. Maybe I can use this mousetrap to distract the crew member.
Do it? Forget it. Do it. Yaru. Chee! Sounds like we caught a massive rat. Chee! I'll have to make sure to plunge it into a bucket of water later and silence it.
No good, huh?
What sort of mouse says chew, anyway? What a terribly Japanese way of thinking, Mikotoba.
Out of curiosity, what do mice say in Russian?
You may find this difficult to believe, but they say pisk. Go on, give it another go. Pisk.
Don't call me Pisk. I'll think of another way.
The switch is on the right?
This is a light switch. If I turn off the lights, maybe the crew member won't be able to see us.
Do it? Forget it. Yaru. What's going on? It's pitch black.
Holmes, now, quick!
No one here, huh?
That was a close one.
You tripped pretty fantastically, considering there's not even anything in this hallway to trip over.
Oh, be quiet. I'll think of something else.
Okay, the light switch was not a good one.
This is obviously an alarm. I bet I could cause quite a racket with this. I'm sure it would get the crew members' attention.
Press it? Don't press it. Press it.
Well, here goes. All hail Buddha.
Damn you! What did you do that for? In other words, if we were at sea, this would be catastrophic. Hey, what's wrong? What's going on? Reports bobbled off. Uh-oh. Nothing's wrong here. Just a little prank. No, it wasn't me. It was a world-famous, no! Like I said.
Holmes, hurry!
There! It's open!
It didn't even take you 5 seconds.
What are you dragging your feet around here for? Let's go, Mikotoba!
Right.
Same day, unspecified time, the RFS bar block, first class cabin number 3. What the heck happened in here?
What the...
It seems the passenger left the ship in quite a panic.
These clothes scattered on the floor. They're definitely Jigoku's.
It would seem that we were just a little too late.
Yes, by a mere 2 hours.
Well, since we went to all the trouble of breaking in, we might as well have a good look around this room. There might be 2 hours worth of clues sleeping here.
But what if that crew member comes back?
Oh, I'm sure he will. We'll just have to look forward to that later. Ever the optimist.
According to the report I read, Naruhodō-kun was hiding in the cabin's closet.
Yes, and it was just this size. Oh, I know! Why don't you get inside?
What? Why would I?
To recreate my famous first encounter with Mr. Naruhodō. Why else? I thought I'd let you experience it firsthand, along with the impressive lines I uttered at the time. Come now, come now! Quickly, quickly! In you go, in you go!
Forget it. Hearing the lines alone will be enough for me.
Well, I said something, opened the closet, and found Naruhodō in there. Amazing.
I'll just read the details in the Adventures of Holmes. This is a speaking tube, but there's some cloth stuffed into it. That means that announcements from the control room won't reach this cabin.
Conversely, any voices from this cabin also won't reach the control room, or other sounds.
Maybe there was something going on down here that they didn't want heard.
Either that, or maybe they were trying to prevent a snake from sneaking in here.
It seems as though you were exceedingly fond of that case.
Oh, this is some fantastic cut glass. Here, have a look at... Wait.
What's wrong, Holmes? Why did you go quiet all of a sudden?
It's ice, Mikotoba. To think, cold drinks being served aboard a steamship.
Huh?
Does the ship happen to have an electric ice box?
Yes. After all, this ship is a so-called passenger liner. Their huge electric icebox is used to store ice and gourmet foods. I was quite excited about the opportunity to experience the curious flavors of the world during our voyage.
Why is it, Mikotoba? Why do I feel such resentment towards you all of a sudden?
That look you're giving me right now must be what people mean when they describe someone's gaze as being icy. It appears to be a trash can. There's still trash inside.
Oh, what do we have here? I've really started enjoying digging through other people's rubbish bins lately.
You really should try to restrict that sort of behavior to what's necessary for your job.
Uh-huh. This appears to have this ship's schedule from 3 days ago written on it.
3 days ago. That was the night before we arrived in London. I was on this ship too, you know.
Is it gonna keep? No, it's not. Okay, that was really quick, so it didn't keep it up. But it said October 31st, requesting for cooperation with evacuation drill. For a span of 20 minutes at 10 p.m. after departure from Dunkirk, we will conduct an evacuation drill. All passengers will need to gather on deck. We humbly request your understanding and cooperation. After the drill, we will return to patrolling the cabins once more.
Ah, right. We did have a drill like this, didn't we? I had a feeling the crew was watching us the whole time we were in these first-class cabins. So that was the only time I felt I could really relax.
Crew activity schedule, found in Judge Yagoku's room, has the ship's plans for the night before they arrived in London written on it. There are clothes scattered all over the floor. Coats, shirts, a dressing gown, working trousers, a padded kimono, a haramaki. Clearly it belongs to a Japanese person. No shit. It seems that the Japanese don't have a culture of putting their clothes in the closet.
It looks to me more like he tossed them around in a panic.
Say, why don't you take that shirt, Mikotoba? Did you not say you needed more?
I don't wear Jigoku's size. I'll buy my own.
Please, Holmes. This is quite a large trunk.
Jigoku insists on everything he owns being large. He looks awfully careless, having forgotten this. Either that, or he left it on purpose. It's lighter than it looks, but it would be a hindrance for someone making a getaway.
It won't open. It seems to be locked.
What happened to being able to open it in 5 seconds?
Unfortunately, this is a 6-digit combination lock. I'm afraid I don't feel like trying out each possible combination one by one. Yeah, that would take forever.
This is a list of ship rules. Bringing anything dangerous, such as weapons or animals, into the ship cabins is strictly forbidden. Additionally, stowing away by hiding in the closet or a trunk is also strictly forbidden.
That rule sure wasn't there last time we looked at those on a ship. I get the feeling there are more rules now, but it's probably just my imagination.
More importantly, does this list of rules look a little crooked to you?
It does, doesn't it? But it's probably just our imaginations. Don't I always say, don't sweat the small stuff?
Is that something you say? The journey at sea is a long one, so they've got some books here. There's everything from thick tomes of literature to light, easy reads. It's quite a luxury.
Whoever put these books here hasn't got a lick of sense. There's no Adventures of Sherlock Holmes here, folks.
I'm the only other person here, but you're right, there's not, is there?
I suppose I'll have to leave one. Good thing I just happen to have a copy on me.
You carried that around with you?
I feel like the rules were supposed to be here, because that's really strange.
This section of wall seems to be a slightly different color.
This is what happens when you take down something framed that you've had up for a long time. Perhaps that friend of yours was a painting thief.
Quite an audacious deduction, befitting of a great detective.
He might even be that mysterious thief, something or the other they say has been showing up a lot recently here in France.
Let's just drop it, shall we, Holmes? The shape left on this wall. I feel like there's something here that appears to be the same shape.
Damn it, you two! You're still here?
Oh, well, well. First mate Stroganoff-san.
Actually, you really took your time, didn't you? Oh, you were waiting for me. Here I was thinking you'd burst right in and shout at us right away. Thanks to your little prank, I got a thorough grilling from the captain.
Poor first mate Stroganoff-san.
It's all your fault. Anyway, it's time to depart. Get out. Not to worry, we will, of course. But before that, there's just one thing we must do. And that's what? Naturally, we're going to give your lie a quick reveal and swiftly find the truth. What? I've already figured out everything. First of all, prelude to pursuit, Mr. Jigoku hasn't left this ship yet. And one more thing, my dear Mr. Mabudo. You currently know exactly where Jigoku is, don't you? How do you...
Holmes, don't tell me. You've figured everything out?
I've missed this. It's truly been 10 years, hadn't it, my friend? It's been so long. Let's enjoy this, shall we? This game of mysteries and deductions, I mean.
I was hoping you'd say that, Holmes.
What's going on here? Here we go. There's not much time left until departure. No time for playing around. Let's get this done. Mr. Mabudo, previously you stated the following. Jigoku disembarked from the ship 2 hours ago. What of it? But that seems to have been a rather slipshod lie. In this room lies a decisive contradiction to those words. What?
Ah, he's right.
And that's how it is, Mikotoba. It's up to you now. The thing contradicting the claim that Jigoku disembarked 2 hours ago is... Now then, Mikotoba, it's been 3 years. Pick something, will you?
I believe it's actually been 10 years since we last met.
Well, yes, of course it has. Anyway, all the clues are right here in this cabin. And the answer should already be in your head. Whack him over the head with it as hard as you can.
Right, I'll give it a shot.
This is so great. The original team, let's go.
I really think you ought to have cleaned up this glass.
It's supposedly been sitting here for 2 hours, and yet the ice hasn't melted. It would seem that this was here in this cabin until just before we arrived. And with an ice-cold glass in his hand...
I don't think that part really matters.
I would venture a guess that when we boarded the ship, someone notified him. Am I right, Mr. Marudo?
But why would Jigoku try to run from us?
Before you think about that, there's one thing we need to confirm. It concerns this first-class cabin. Could it be the same one he used when you two were traveling over from Japan?
Ah, you're right. It is. I was in cabin 1 next door, and Jigoku just so happened to have spent the last 50 days on the voyage from Japan in this very cabin.
I figured that was the case. For, you see, there was a certain trace that he needed to hide at all costs.
A trace?
I don't know anything about that. What are you talking about? Oh? It looks like Mr. Mamadov isn't aware of it.
Holmes, just what on earth is it?
Signs of a certain crime that occurred in this cabin have been covered up. And you must have already noticed the resulting unnaturalness.
Something unnatural in this cabin.
That's our answer, Mikotoba. The unnatural place hiding the traces of the crime. I never imagined I'd be able to walk the path of logic with you again like this. He's so happy.
Indeed, you never can tell what life will hold. Now then, if you'll pardon me, we really should continue this deduction.
Yes, I'm counting on you, Mikotoba. Let's poke that rules poster back here.
The thing that's bothering me is definitely this list of rules. It's a bit off-center, almost as if it's been hastily hung up here.
I'd figured you'd notice. This list of rules was originally here, was it not? It's roughly the same size, after all. You're right. When did it get moved over there? It seems like you're a rather careless sailor. Suddenly I understand the captain's shaky trust in you.
Looks like that was the comment that did the most damage to him out of any of this.
Anyway, try removing that panel for us, Mikotoba. Hello.
This looks like a bullet hole.
What? When on earth did that get there? It would seem that the bullet has already been carried off. Someone in this room must have disposed of it. Isn't that right, Mr. Bobodov? Good. And you seem to be trying to cover for that someone. I don't know a thing. Why would I cover for some Oriental I don't even know? Oh, so he was Oriental, was he? Let me lift this weight from your shoulders for you, Mr. Mabodov. The proof that you're lying under someone else's instructions is... I think I missed a line.
I feel like I still can't see the answer at all.
Not to worry, Mikotoba. If you simply observe the target from every possible angle, I'm sure it will all become clear to you. After all, it's already peeking out. Yeah, I think we're missing a third line for Holmes in here on the script. Oops.
Alright then, I'll try glaring at everything from every angle.
I like this version of the Great Partner track. This one where it's like really calm and stuff. This is my favorite version, honestly. Not that I don't like the one that's playing right now, but I like this version too. So yeah. That's an awful lot of money you got there.
It goes without saying, doesn't it?
It certainly does. The thing that speaks the same language all over the world. In other words, money. Ugh.
I don't believe I even need to say that Oriental's name at this point, but... might it have been Jigoku Seishiro?
Ugh.
Now then, I believe you ought to have figured it out by now as well. There's a bullet hole in this room. It's a trace left behind by the occurrence of a crime. At this rate, you'll become an accomplice.
Surely you must be aware, Mr. Mabodov. You must know where Jigoku is hiding at this very moment. I thought so. A culprit's gaze is a strong ally in times of trouble, Mikotoba.
Yes, it looked as though you got right into the weak point of his heart.
At the end of his gaze is where our target is hiding. The small movements of the eyes, small mismatches in the timing of a person's blinking. I don't miss a single moment. Movement. However.
This time he turned his head toward it, didn't he? To be honest, he made such a big show of it that calling it his gaze sounds too subtle.
Put an abrupt end to this commotion with those dance steps of yours, would you? I think we can conclude what is written on his arm at this point, too. It's not Holmes. I think it's the code.
Your gaze seems awfully preoccupied with this trunk.
Bah!
Jigoku Seishiro was unable to disembark from the ship. And as we speak, he's hidden himself inside this trunk.
Then I'd be willing to bet that he's almost out of air in there. Huh? I doubt he imagined we'd hang around for quite this long. I think we better open this quickly, for both our sakes.
But the trunk is locked by a combination lock. We have no idea what the 6-digit code is.
Oh yes, we do. A combination lock can't possibly be opened from inside the trunk. After we left, he would have needed someone to open it for him.
Ah.
In other words, before Jigoku hid inside the trunk, he would have needed to tell someone the 6-digit combination. Isn't that right, Mr. Mopodov? Good. I don't know anything about no combination. Freeze! Right there! Oh? Now, Mikotoba, open the trunk.
What?
The combination is 6 digits. Make haste now, Mikotoba. There's our code. Also, it is in reverse, so it's not... So, yes, you see 401. 4 is at the other end. We actually start on the side that looks like an S, but it's not an S, it's a 5. So... I'm sorry, this part of the game makes me think of Professor Layton. This is a very Layton-esque kind of little gimmick here. Alright.
It opened.
Oh dear.
Surprise!
So you found me, Mikotoba.
What is it with stuffing Japanese into, like, cramped spaces? First Naruhodō in a closet and the trunk, and now Jigoku.
Jigoku. Jigoku. I didn't want to believe this was the case.
Sounds like you're not all that surprised, Mikotoba.
Not really. Just disappointed.
Well, when are you going to introduce me?
I know about you. You're a detective who appears in a popular novel series.
Well, this is Mr. Jigoku. He's a friend who traveled across the ocean with me.
That's not quite accurate, is it, Miss Mikotoba? He may have traveled across the ocean with you, but he's a cowardly friend who tried to secretly run away when things got hairy.
It's an honor to make your acquaintance.
Well, Jigoku, why did you try to run?
You ought to know that. Perhaps you weren't aware, but someone came here to kill me 3 days ago, the night before we arrived in London.
The Grim Reaper of Old Bailey, you mean? Of course I knew. You were prosecuted by the Grim Reaper 10 years ago.
Back then, I could never imagine that he was such a dangerous fellow. But in any case, even after our arrival in London, the symposium was delayed and didn't look like it would be starting up anytime soon. I had no idea when the next attempt on my life would come if I stayed in that city.
And that's why you tried to make a run for it, without saying a single word to me?
That's right. Well, I agree. I probably should have said something to you.
What a strange story.
How so?
It's not that easy to secure a first-class cabin here on the RFS Bar block. I think you went a bit far trying to claim that one of them just happened to be free.
This popular novel character here seems to be trying to say something, but I don't particularly care. It really did just happen to be available. That's how I was able to buy a ticket, and now here I am.
There are still traces of a crime left behind in this cabin. That's why you made sure to buy a ticket home, before we'd even arrived in London. To ensure that no one else would end up using this room. Am I right?
I have nothing to say to you, Mikotoba.
Anyway, the ship will be departing for Italy in just 5 minutes. We'll need you to disembark with us right away.
I have no obligation to obey you.
Take this, Jigoku.
Meanwhile, Mikotoba...
What's this?
A subpoena from Old Bailey. You're a member of the justice system as well. Surely you know what will happen if you ignore a subpoena from the Great British Empire.
Mikotoba, you were prepared for this already?
Now let's go.
One moment.
What is it, Holmes?
Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk was this little thing. Is that the top of a for a stopwatch?
What is this, Jigoku?
I don't know. It looks like it came off something bigger. I don't know anything about it.
Judging by his expression, he honestly doesn't know.
Well, since we went to the trouble of finding it, let's bring it home as a souvenir from our trip to France. Or give it to Naruhodō. A small part of machine that Holmes-san found in Judge Jigoku's cabin on the RFS Bar block.
Well, Naruhodō-kun, I believe we've done all we can for you. The rest is up to you.
And this here concludes the session with Holmes and Mikotoba, and I'm sad that it's not any longer. But that entire joint reasoning flowed so well because they knew each other so well that they just kind of cut off the extra middleman of the whole situation. It was beautiful. But anyway, we've caught Jigoku. He's trying to run away, but Mikotoba was ready for him. So we should be able to continue the trial when we go back to the courtroom with Naruhodō in the next video. So I'll see you guys then.